Hello, Inquirer Live followers. Welcome to our Inquirer Live edition today, our first Philly sneaker culture Inquirer Live. My name is Damichael Cole, sports reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer. And today, on this special episode here, we will be discussing the Philly sneaker culture and how it intersects with sports. And this is the first time we've had this conversation, so I'm excited. I'm excited as well to bring on our special guest, Matt Norwood, host of the Ultra League Sports Podcast. Matt is a real sneakerhead. When I tell you Matt has been collecting sneakers for more than 30 years, he owns more than 200 pairs of sneakers, and he's collected them any and every way you probably can think of. So let's bring on our special guest, Matt Norwood, host of Ultra League Sports Podcast.
Hi.
Matt, how you doing?
What's good with you?
Man, I can't complain. You ready to talk some sneakers?
Oh, I think I was born ready to talk about sneaks.
Man, tell me about it. I'm excited too. I think this is a conversation long in the making here, especially with the Philly people. And for everyone watching, just make sure to submit questions. Log into our inquirer.com/sneaker culture live. So that's inquirer.com/sneaker culture live. Is where you can submit your questions. So that means if you're watching from our Facebook or YouTube accounts, go ahead and scroll over to inquirer.com/sneaker culture live, and that's where you ask your questions. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we might not be able to see your questions. So okay. Matt.
Yes, sir.
Sneakers, man.
I'm ready, man. Let's talk.
Well, Matt, tell me where it started. How did you get into collecting sneakers?
Well, when I was young, around 7 to 8, I was a huge basketball fan. So that's really where it came from. Like Jordans and the Patrick Ewings and, all that back in the day to me was eye-opening. It was something that I gravitated to. And from there, it just took off, Sneakers is like, even when I was younger, like Elysees, Etonics.
So we talking early mid 90s.
Yeah, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, New Balances, K-Swiss. Like I was in a little bit of everything back then. Today is more so Nike, Jordan oriented. I got some Reebok, some Iversons and stuff in there, but for the most part, back in the day I was more into everything.
Yeah. So what do you still have? I mean, what's in your sneaker culture? I mean, your sneaker collection today? What do you got?
Well,
you about to pull something out for me?
I'm about to pull something out.
Okay.
When this is one, and not even just basketball, like my favorite baseball player was Ken Griffey Jr.
I love the Griffies.
I never owned the first pair. Never had any colorway until now.
Oh yeah.
So I had, it's called the Sweetest Swing.
Mm-hmm.
At first I wasn't into the colorway too much, but it's the design for me, for the sneak, and it's iconic. It just takes me back to when I was young, watching him play for the Seattle Mariners. So that's like one of the sneaks. That's one of my favorite, just design sneakers. I also just copped something this weekend.
Okay.
I just got these for the show, basically. The Jordan 7. Paris edition. It costs a little bit, but I don't even like them that much. But if you find a pair of Jordans in the store,
you gotta
get them. Cop them, man.
You gotta get them. That's rare. So you speaking of that, you said, like you just said, if you find a pair of Jordans in the store, especially if you're a sneakerhead, especially if they're retro Jordans,
right?
You are going to cop them. And a lot of people have asked me, just beforehand, before you even got to this point of doing this show, just how do you get sneakers? Just the way that the business model of get shoes, especially hot commodity shoes, like retro Jordans, like
Right.
Yeezys and special edition shoes and things like that. The way that this has changed over the last 10 or so years is it's been a complete transformation. Where once upon a time, I remember when I was a kid, we'd be able to go into the stores and on a Saturday morning, Jordans come out. Now you might stand in a nice line. Now you're gonna stand in the line for a little bit, but eventually
you'll be able to get them.
Eventually, you'll be able to get them. But today, it's a whole new ball game. There's no standing in line for the newest pairs of Jordans coming out too often. You're depending on raffle tickets and some people are going online. But Matt, you own a lot of Jordans. You own a lot of hot commodity sneakers through different brands. So tell us, how do you get sneakers?
Well, like you said, back in the day, I had a couple spots on Shelton Avenue that I could go to get my Jordans because I was a regular, so they would just have them for me. But then after a while, Jordan brand made sure that the little mom and pop stores couldn't get them no more because they was doing stuff, and so that made it hard. So around the time when the pandemic hit, I started using eBay, going on eBay looking for sneaks because I never used StockX or any of those because they was just a little bit too pricey for me on certain things that I really, try not to go overboard with my stuff. Yeah. So eBay became my friend for a bit. People, and another thing what people can do is make sure they check for restocks, because I just saw last Friday they had a restock for the Raging Bull 5s at Dick's Sporting Goods. And if you're not paying attention to something like that, it'll just pass you by if you was looking for them, and you won't have to, you could pay the retail $190 and don't have to do the $350, $400 for them. So just make sure you try to keep up on the sites like Foot Action, Foot Locker, Jimmy Jazz, places like that, because I'm starting to see a lot of restocks.
Yeah, and to your point with the restocks, I've talked to some people. I know people, have friends that work in some of these shoe stores, and just talking to them about restocks. One thing about restocks is now with the new market, the way it is to get these shoes in stores is you're dependent on raffle tickets and you're signing up. You're going on the apps like you just mentioned. You got like the City Gear Hibbett Sports app. You got the Finish Line, Foot Locker apps. Pretty much all of the shoe apps, the Nike app. You're depending on getting these shoes through raffles. Therefore, if you win a raffle, you get a ticket to go to the store to get the shoes. And sometimes, even when people win, because some people just put in the raffles just because, some people win and they still don't get the shoes.
Right.
It happens. Those shoes are often sold the next day. They give you the day. So another thing I would suggest to people when you say how to get these shoes, just check the next day. Go up to the day. If the shoes drop Friday, Saturday, whenever they drop, go the next day and you might get lucky. It's rare, but that's when you can go get them as well. And that goes to the point of you have to know people too. Knowing people is important.
That's usually how it go in life. You gotta know somebody. Knowing people who work at these sneaker spots will really, really help you. But let's bring this into Philly a little bit more. Let's bring this into Philly and talk about the Philly sneaker culture here. Matt, just how would you describe it? I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I can talk about Memphis' sneaker culture with my eyes closed. How would you describe the Philly sneaker culture? The Philly sneaker culture is nowadays, I think, is different. I love what it is now. Besides the fact that you can't really get the sneaks that you really want in the stores as much as you want to, but you can wear what you want to wear. Like I see people wearing Filas again, Puma is real big in the city with Meek pushing the Puma and the people loving Puma. New Balance, like I said, I was wearing New Balances when I was 8, 9 years old. And of course, you know, my go-tos like the Jordans and everything it's a big difference. It's not everybody's not wearing the same things. So that's the one thing I love. Like, you can express yourself the way you want to. You don't have to be like anybody else. You can, if you like it, rock it. You know, I think that the Philly scene, like it's definitely heavy on the New Balances and the Puma. Like, it's really something that you see a lot on people is those two, and I really think that's something that Philly is one of the staples of Philly. Those two sneaks, honestly.
Okay, so we have a couple questions coming in from our readers here. So we'll go ahead and get one right here. It says, "What's the hottest store in Philly to get drops?"
See, for me, I go to the Foot Locker at Cedarbrook. Like, that's one place that I get the sneaks that I want. Like the Griffeys, the Bo Jacksons, and stuff like that. That's maybe a little harder. Like, I think it's one of them places that might be slept on a little bit, but it probably ain't gonna be after I said that. But yeah, but that's one of the places that I've been going recently that they've been looking out. Like, they've been having some good things.
Yeah, okay. Now, when we talk about Philly and we talk about the sneaker culture here, when you talk about Philly and culture, period, you got to mention the name Allen Iverson.
I was waiting for it.
You got to mention the name Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, I mean, even beyond Philly, Allen Iverson changed the culture of the NBA, of how players, you know, represented themselves, how players, you know, started to be themselves more and more. And, you know, Allen Iverson is obviously one of the biggest ambassadors of Reebok we've seen. And you know, I was down in Memphis at the Classic a couple weeks ago, and every player on the court had on Iversons. And it was a sight to see. But how big, you know, because this is Iverson City. I didn't know
it is.
A city like Memphis, you know, Reebok gets some pull there. You know, Reebok is big there, but how big is Reebok in a city like Philly?
In a city like Philly, man, it's like, for one, Iverson might be the second most influential basketball player in NBA history. So that alone, he stands out. The question mids to me are one of the holy grails of sneakers, because that's he crossed Mike in them in those Iversons.
He had on when he crossed Mike, yeah.
He the red toes, he had them on, and like, just seeing them, like, oh, that's Iverson sneak. It just made it legendary, and I think that it's huge because he's the GOAT in Philly, man. He's definitely the GOAT, and I saw Montrezl Harrell, because Montrezl always be rocking the questions, and he had a pair on. They were black and white, and they got the gold Reebok symbol on the side. Now, what makes the sneak interesting to me, it's a black toe, but you could take the black off, and underneath it's gold. So I said I had to go
Bring
get
him out. Oh yeah.
I had to, because, see, so this part right here, if you could scratch this off, and it'll be gold under it. So that was one thing that I had to. I mean, look at the silhouette. It's just classic.
That's a beauty.
It's classic. So, you know, he's always going to be a Philly legend. So like his sneaks, like cause they're starting to drop his sneakers more and more. Like the ones with the zipper, I saw they just dropped them not too long ago, the red and white ones.
Yep.
And I had them in blue and white when they first came out. But I think that AI, that Reebok staple in Philly always going to be there. Like, cause even before AI, like people was wearing the pumps, the D Brown wore in the slam dunk contest.
When he
you
went
got when he did and then you had the hypnotized, the Shaq ones. You had the Sean Kemps. Like I remember all them back in the day, and people was rocking them. So Reebok plays a part, especially the throwback sneaks in the city of Philly.
Yeah. So let's talk about that now then, since we're talking about throwbacks and we've already touched a little bit on the sneaker culture today. Well, before we get to that, let's get a couple more questions in here.
Okay.
We got the questions coming in. One question from Miles P. Shout out to Miles P. If you have to choose just 3 pairs of sneakers to wear for the rest of your life, what would be the choices?
All right, so we're going to do that. All right. I'll show you one of them right off the bat. And I think this might be my favorite sneaker all time.
All time.
All time.
Here it is.
The 11s. And wait, all the sneaks I'm showing you right now, I haven't even worn yet. Like they still, they just.
That's the life of a sneakerhead.
That is life of a sneakerhead because I want to buy another pair of these so I can wear them because I want to just keep these in the box. So this is definitely one of the pairs that I would definitely say is in my top if that I had to pick 3.
The retro.
Those. I just fell in love with these. I just got these. When I was younger, I wasn't big on Jordan 1s. But as I got older, I started liking them.
Jordan 1 guy right here.
Oh, yeah, I know. I see you with all the lows. Like every time I see you, you got another pair of lows on. But these are.
Oh, yes.
I just picked these up not too long ago. I would say these will probably be in my top 3.
Okay.
And what I got last but not least, I don't have them right next to me, but I might go with the foam posits, the very first ones that Penny wore, the royal blue foam posits. That might be my 3rd. I ain't want to go all Jordan, so I'm gonna throw that Penny the foam posit in there.
Okay, I like that. We didn't mention the Nike foam posits yet, so that's a new addition to the conversation. Okay, one more question here, then we'll keep the train moving.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on sneaker bots? Is that why it is so hard to get sneakers nowadays?
I think the sneaker culture really changed with the hype beast. Like when that started, it like you can't get dunks in stores. You can't it's people are trying to flex, so they'll try to buy as many pairs as possible and then flip them for whatever instead of letting people that really enjoy the sneaker get a chance to buy them for the retail, not have to double what you could get them for in the store. It was at one point in time, like late 2000s, early 2010, around that time where you could go into the sneaker store and Jordans would be sitting.
You could get them. Like
they would be sitting.
Yeah.
It's just time. Things always change. So we might even get back to that stage where people are like, you know what? I'm not really messing with them no more. Or we're not messing with them for the minute. But yeah, it's definitely frustrating. And I could see how it could be frustrating to people that don't have that type of money to spend on sneakers. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely played a part in making it hard to get your hands on things.
Yeah, there's definitely some cases where you see people being priced out of certain sneakers when you talk about, people buying them out of stores and just reselling them on the market for double the price. Because people are buying them every day for twice, triple the price.
Yep.
So, that does, make it harder for the harder working people who
right.
Like me when I was a kid, I get that pair of Jordans for the first day of school. I'm sleeping with the box in the bed. That's my pillow for the night. and you got to take the first smell. You got to take the first smell. So, it makes it harder. Like you said, the people that have that true passion,
right,
really for it. And you mentioned Nike Dunks. Nike Dunks are just. I remember when I was in, elementary school, early middle school. So what, 10, 15 years, 15, 20 years ago, people were getting clowned a little bit for wearing Dunks. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like the culture is
Dunks are the shoe now.
They are the shoe. And I think they became the shoe because they resemble the Jordan 1.
They resemble the Jordan 1s. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yep. And that just shows like how you talk about the way, things change. But let's talk about the NBA and sneaker relevance over the years. You mentioned earlier shoes like Sean Kemp's, Kamikazes. We mentioned AI, Michael Jordan. I mean, everyone knows.
Right.
But Pat Ewing's.
Can we get into that for a little bit?
Let's get into that. Talk about, how have you seen the sneaker, culture in the game just grow and change over the years with some of the older releases and, some of the things we're seeing today?
I want like the younger people that's watching to understand something. When Patrick Ewing's first came out, it was some of the hottest sneakers that you could get. There we go. There we go. That's some of the hottest sneaks you could have ever had. Like, at one point, I'm like, I don't want no Jordans. I want some Patrick Ewing's. Like, like that's how the influence of the game influenced the shoe. Because, and the people, if the people rocking with it, it definitely gives it that hard push, and people can't deny it. So, like, for example, when the foam posits first came out, one of my homies got them, and we were in middle school. They were $180. They were $180. That day, I realized I need to get a good job, because if I'm in middle school and they almost $200, how much they gonna be when I get older?
Right.
Like, so I honestly think that shoe pushed the prices to the limit, and from there they ain't looked back. They have not looked back at all. So, it's just seeing your favorite players out there on the court. Like even now, like the kids that I work with, they loving their Kyrie Irvings. They loving their KDs. Like I even see a lot of the kids now with the
Adidas.
The Adidas. Yeah. I even saw a couple Spider Mitchells out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not just now you can wear what you want. Like you're not getting clowned for wearing certain things. Like you said, people used to get clowned for wearing the Dunks. Now you can just do what you want, which I love, because so people can show their individuality and not have to be like everybody else to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because you have a lot of signature shoot athletes now. I mean, in NBA. I mean, you got, of course, everyone knows the big time Nike guys. You mentioned
right.
Kyrie Irving, LeBron James.
Right.
Those
didn't even bring him up.
yeah. I mean, LeBron James, I mean, he's estimated $1 billion lifetime contract with Nike. Like, this is big.
That's humongous.
You talk about, KD's, Kevin Durant. I think when I was in high school, so 8 or 9 years ago, he had a pretty good run. The KDs were up there.
Mm-hmm.
And You talk about, like Adidas, James Harden, Dame Lillard, D Rose has been, Adidas since he was, the young flashy point guard of the NBA, and that's when he really brought Adidas to prominence.
And if he didn't get hurt, if Rose ain't get hurt, there's no telling what his shoes would be doing right now.
It's one of the biggest what ifs because
seriously.
I mean, he was very marketable for it because Adidas put a lot into Derrick Rose. And speaking of putting a lot into athletes, you got Under Armour. Everyone always knew Under Armour for football. Football was always growing up. I never associated Under Armour with basketball.
No,
Under Armour pulled in arguably the most influential, impactful athlete of the past 10 or so years. Arguably now, Steph Curry. And Steph Curry, is the face of Under Armour now. And now you see a lot of kids wearing Under Armours. You see a lot of players wearing them as well.
Right.
And to bring it back to Philly, Joel Embiid is also with the Under Armour team.
Embiid.
And Joel Embiid got his signature shoe last fall of 2020. The Embiid ones debuted. Let's take a look now at the Embiid ones. And so look at them things, Matt. What are your thoughts on this colorway? This was the debut Embiid one here. What are your thoughts on Philly's only signature shoe athlete in NBA? And mind you, he is the only center in the NBA with his own signature shoe.
Well deserved. First of all, well deserved for him. When I first heard he was signing with Under Armour, I was very excited for him because, I think that he deserved the shoe. And then when I saw it, I said, okay, it's not bad. I think it's a nice looking shoe. I honestly think it's a nice looking shoe. I haven't tried it on or anything yet, but I think this colorway is all right. But if I see like a Sixers colorway, like a blue and red and white, I might have to cop just because it's my guy Embiid.
Okay. And I believe they do. They have like a red, white, and blue type colorway. There have been a few, I think, different Embiid ones released as of late. Like I said, they debuted it fall of 2020. So Embiid's still pretty brand new in the signature shoe game. But I believe, he's very marketable. Of course, process, he turned that into a phrase we hear almost every day. Yeah. But just looking at the Sixers roster, because let's talk about the Sixers basketball squad. You have big money players.
Yes, you do.
You got Ben Simmons. You got Tobias Harris. You have a very recognizable player in Steph Curry. You have guys like Tyrese Maxey. Someone on the Sixers, do you think any of them could be a future signature shoe athlete in the NBA?
I honestly thought the next person on the team was going to be Ben Simmons because I always see him wearing Nike, and it's not even like he wearing like KD's or something. It was like just a Nike basketball shoe. So I thought eventually they would bring one out for him.
And you talk about that Australian pipeline too.
Right.
That's big marketing game.
Right. Real talk. The one person I honestly think, because people are going crazy because he showed a lot of heart, Maxey. I think Maxey, if they increase his playing time and people really start to see him, he might be somebody that might be next, honestly.
Yeah. He's definitely, just covering the Sixers playoff run. There were a couple times where Maxey would have just quarter bursts, not even full games. A great quarter, and he'd be one of the top 10 trending topics on Twitter. So talk about, because that's the way these sneaker brands are thinking. They're thinking marketable. Who can we market? Who can we put? Because, there are athletes, that aren't as marketable, who are really good players, but they aren't as marketable as some of the guys. We have a couple comments going in now. Let's look at these comments. One comment here says, "Give Maxey the starting job in his own shoe," and another here says, "Let's talk about Yeezy shoes. So comfortable." Now,
Okay.
That you talk about the Yeezys, I'll mention that just in my conversations with people who, are store managers and who, see, how the sale market, operates with these shoes inside of these stores.
Right.
I've heard from some people that besides Jordans, Yeezys don't last more than a day either.
Oh, no. You can't get them in the store. I think you have a better chance of finding Jordans than Yeezys in the store.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I go to the store, I never see a pair of Yeezys on the shelf. It's either they bringing them out the back to give to somebody that's already in line so they can pay for them and go. Like that shoe, because I heard at one point it overtook Jordan for like the bestseller.
Yeah.
So now I don't own any because I'm not a fan of the look. But I hear they're comfortable, like one of the most comfortable shoes you can own.
It's an unorthodox look, but like you said, the comfort level. I mean,
and that's important.
Yeah, that's especially when you talk about wearing them on a basketball court and things like that. Yeezys have definitely gotten a lot more pull lately. And then just we'll talk about a couple more brands. Brands like Converse and Puma have gained a lot of ground lately. I know we talked about Nike, we talked about Jordan, we talked about Adidas. They're the bigs. Under Armour. We talked about Under Armour because they have Steph Curry, Joel Embiid. But Puma recently started bringing in athletes. Michael Porter Jr., DeAndre Ayton,
your boy.
They bring in LaMelo Ball, who I believe LaMelo Ball is about to become one of the most profitable.
That's going to be the guy that takes Puma to another level.
Yeah,
and he'll do them Steph numbers with Under Armour with them if they push him. Oh yeah.
I believe that. And then you think New Balance. New Balance, of course, Kawhi Leonard.
The claw.
When you talk about, marketable athletes, Kawhi isn't the first guy.
That's not the first person you think.
But Kawhi's just too good, man. He's just too good.
His work speaks for himself.
So when we're talking about those brands, and then Converse, as we mentioned earlier, Converse, Kelly Oubre is a very marketable athlete. That's, once again, not someone you would say he's a top 20, top 30 player in the NBA, but he's very big in the fashion side of things. He's, very marketable with those type of things. So he's a Converse guy. Draymond Green is another big Converse athlete.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander,
one of the best up-and-coming young players.
One of the best up-and-comers.
And shout out to Natasha Cloud as well, Philly's own, Delaware County, Delco native.
That's what I'm talking about.
She became the first WNBA player to sign with Converse. So
congratulations. Well deserved.
And she, she's very marketable in her own right. So when we talk about those three brands really quick, we talk Converse, Puma, and New Balance. Which of those could you see getting up into that next tier with the Jordan, Nike, Adidas, and even Under Armour group?
All right. Well, let's be honest. Converse is one of the first sneakers for basketball
players. Converse has the history.
Yes, they have the history, the Chuck Taylors, all that. I think, though, right now, I would have to go Puma. I don't know. I just had this feeling like Puma is going to, if they get Ball, if they get LaMelo, and make a shoe around him and the way he play, like, people already gravitating to him.
Since he was 16. I
mean, and he taking the league over by storm, and he just got in there. So I think that him wearing Puma will definitely take them up there in the basketball game for real.
Yeah. I mean, that would be my pick too. Puma did this thing where they specialized in getting young star talent, and I think, for an up-and-coming brand, that's the best way you can do it, because you have Michael Porter, who's probably going to be, a big player for the Denver Nuggets for a long time. He's going to be an all-star, going to be a very marketable guy. LaMelo Ball, I mean, the world has known him since he was 14, 15 years old. and he's actually, rookie of the year now, living up to the hype.
Yep.
DeAndre Ayton is making himself more marketable right now in the playoffs with the way he's playing.
Yep.
So Puma has it, and there we go. Someone just mentioned, J. Cole with Puma.
Yeah. Oh yeah, J. Cole. Yep.
That's a big one. J. Cole with Puma as well. So that's a big thing because you talk about with Adidas when Adidas got Kanye West.
Right.
That was a big. So that connection with the hip hop side of things and connecting. We talk about the culture, hip hop with the sneaker industry.
Right.
There's a connection there. So J. Cole with Puma as well. I think there's a big avenue for Puma to be one of those brands. But we talked about this earlier, with your three favorite shoes. But what are some of your other just personal favorite drops? New, old, classic. Some of your favorites.
Definitely the Bo Jackson cross trainers. The first Bo Jacksons. I love them. Like that. The silhouette of the shoe is just dope.
Old school right here.
It's dope. Like it's just it's timeless to me. What else I got down here? Hold up. Let me see. My old school. Well, these are these might be one of my favorite drops of all time, and I just got them.
Okay.
I just got my hands on them about 2 weeks ago. They're not old. They first came out like early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. But just the shoe period is the 5.
Oh yeah.
And the Raging Bulls. These were one of my first pair of Jordans when I was younger. I remember my dad bought me a pair, and after that it was a wrap. It was the white ones with the silver tongue. That's what the first ones. Yeah, the red and white ones. The fire reds. So, like, what's another one of my favorite drops of all time? What's another one that I love the Red Octobers, the Kanye Jones when he was with Nike. Yeah. That's one of my favorite ones. Never owned them because couldn't get my hands on them, but about to change that.
Okay.
But those a couple of my my favorite silhouettes and favorite drops of all time.
I hear you. So just in terms of retro Jordans, it sounds like we got a lot of big Jordan fans here on the front because it looks like I've seen you pop up a couple retro Jordan 5s. Me personally, I'm a 1 through 13 guy.
1 through 13?
1 through 13 with Jordans. Of course, not 2s. Not.
Wait.
Not too fond of 2s now.
Because I was going to pull out the 1s. And I'm like, I don't even have no 2s right now. I was going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm like, dang, that messed up because I except for the first 2s, those are the only ones I really would rock with, honestly.
Yeah, 2s never were a big seller. But 1s, 3s, and 1 through 13, I'm big on those. Of course, I'm a 12s guy myself. 12s are my favorite. Low top, high top, love the 12s. But what would you say are your favorite retro Jordans?
I have to probably go back to these. I probably have to say these.
So 11s.
The 11. In this particular, I love the Concords, but the breads are just
the breads. Yep. I got a breads myself. Yep.
Yeah. This is like one sneak I have to always have. I have to always have a pair. That's why I ain't even put them on my feet yet.
we got a couple comments here. Matt Sampson said, "What's on your feet now?" And then someone, the off-white 2s with a question mark. The off-white 2s. I'm familiar with.
The low top ones.
Yeah, the low top ones. I've seen them now, and they're definitely tempting. I would say this though: if I were to own a pair of 2s, Off-white twos would be high up on the list for me.
Really?
Definitely. For twos.
Oh, for twos. Okay. Yeah. The off-white twos, I would still not. I wasn't feeling them all like that when I saw it, but no, I guess they are.
Yeah.
They are. Oh, and for Samson and Matt, I actually got slides on my feet because I was trying. I was so busy trying to get the sneaks that I wanted to set up. I was like, let me just throw the slides on.
For me, I actually got my slides on now, but
see, that's what
for the most of today, these were the shoes of today right here.
Oh, you showing off?
I'm 12s. 12s are my shoes, you know.
Oh,
and these are my babies. I'm a 12s guy through and through. And I think the first pair of 12s I got with a tax. Oh, there they go.
Flu game.
The flu game right there, man. It's one of the most iconic shoes because of the game.
Because of the game. Because of the game.
And they said it must be the shoes.
It must be the shoes.
It must be the shoes. So now we've hit on a lot of the bigger brands in terms, you know, sneakers and the NBA and that connection there in terms of, you know, Jordan. We talked about Adidas. We talked about Reebok. We talked about New Balance, Puma, Converse, and we talked about, you know, that's what, 7. That's 7 brands right there that just threw out there. I don't know if you're gonna remember all of them, but
I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. So you have to rank those 7.
All right, I gotta rank them.
The 7 that I just named. You can do it. You can do it high to low, low to high. Doesn't matter.
All right. So this time I'm gonna kick it off. For me personally, I'm gonna start off with Jordan.
That's the top.
Then Nike. Then I'm gonna go Adidas.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna go Puma.
Ooh, okay. So that's the first surprise right there.
I'm gonna go Puma.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna go New Balance, and then I'm gonna go Converse.
Okay. What about Reebok? Where you
Reebok? Oh, I left out Reebok. Okay,
yeah.
So it'll be Reebok will be after New Balance.
Okay. I can respect that. First, I would have put Reebok maybe 4th or 5th because Reebok just have that classic
right
touch to them that I haven't really got on board yet with Puma. Okay, we see someone mentioned the Yeezy slides.
Oh my goodness,
them things expensive too now.
You know what it looked like to me? It looked like somebody had a 3D printer and just printed them things out. I'm just going to keep it real with you. Like, There's nothing about them things that make me interested in them a little bit. I know it's the name, just like the stuff I buy because of the name. I get it, but yeah, it's not really doing too much for me.
Okay, here's a good question. We have from Melody Banks here. Could sneaker culture be more attributed to Black culture or sports culture? Would there be a sneaker culture without Black culture?
I think they go hand in hand.
I agree.
I think they go hand in hand. Because that's mainly the people, not all. We all know that's not the truth, but that's mainly what you see in the NBA. So I think it's definitely goes hand in hand. Like the Black culture and the sneaker culture and the basketball, I think it's all just tied into one thing. I don't want to make it seem like I don't really rock with him like that. It's just not like his design on the sneaks for on the Yeezys with Adidas is not really my thing too much. Also, getting back into the foam posits, they were real big at one point, and I'm seeing now they're starting to not really decline. I'm just not seeing people rock them as much as they used to, and that's that cycle where things go around and come back around. It's like somebody saw somebody say something about Air Force Ones really coming back strong, huge. Air Forces was when I was younger. I remember every morning, me and my cousin would go to, and I was the high Air Force One wearer with the strap that you could take off. I would go get a different color like every weekend. I used to play ball in because of Rasheed Wallace. I used to play ball in the Air Force Ones, the high ones. So like I'm glad to see, but whatever you like, even when the stuff you liked when you were a kid, it'll come back around. It'll definitely come back around because everything comes back around. I saw about somebody say something about a Deodoras. I remember those when I was younger. I don't think I ever had a pair of those, but they're going to get they'll get their shine again. Everything will, because when I saw Patrick Ewing's come back, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing's. I didn't know Patrick Ewing's were as big as they were, but I like I said, I've had a couple pairs. The other pair I'm talking about, the other pair that I had were the orange, white, and blue ones.
No, that's the only, when I talk about them, that's the only picture of the Patrick Ewing's I see in my head. Is that the one, that colorway that you just said?
Yeah, sorry about that. Everyone too had a bit of technical difficulty right there on my end. But this has been a great conversation, just diving into the Philly sneaker culture.
My guy.
With the NBA with Matt Norwood here, host of Out Your League Sports Podcast. Matt, just tell the people where they can listen to Out Your League Sports Podcast, when, and all of that.
Okay, well, you can listen to Out Your League Sports on pqradio1.com every Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. A lot. We talk sports, we talk life, we motivate. Shout out to my man Miles P, Candace, and Dennis. And Philly, everybody need to know Philly DMC is official Out Your League Sports member for sure. And yeah, man. Oh, and check out Out Your League Kicks on Instagram. And you can follow me on Out Your League _ Out Your _ League _ Sports _ Matt. And yeah, check us out on pqradio1.com every Sunday.
How many? Because I know earlier I said over 200 pair. How many pairs of shoes do you think you own?
I don't know.
Wait.
The bad part is, bro, I started going through my sneaks last night to get ready. I didn't even get to my He Got Games.
Oh,
I didn't even get to certain pair that I really wanted to pull out, like the Bread 13s. Like, I've barely found the flu games, so I was happy I got my hands on them. But I really don't know, man. There's so many. I got totes and totes filled with sneaks, and in the boxes, you got to keep the boxes.
You got to keep the boxes, and that's an important thing,
If you're a sneakerhead, you got to keep the boxes.
You got to keep the boxes. I've seen, because sometimes I get shoes shipped up here, and I'm like, I don't want the shoes if I can't get the box.
Real talk. Real talk.
I need the box.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I got in the sneaker game with Jordans. Jordans.
Right.
Jordan's introduced me. You talked about how Patrick Ewing, the Ewings and the Jordans were, man, growing up, it was Jordans. It was Jordans through and through. And I feel like that was because the time period when I grew up, which was like, pretty much the early to mid 2000s, Jordans ran the game because, there were, Kobe Bryant ended up going through a switch during that time, who was, one of the other biggest athletes at the time and things like that. LeBron James, was just, fresh on the scene.
Right.
And so you had a lot of classics and things like that. And of course, Allen Iverson and Reebok, and AI was doing his thing, but Jordans were running the game.
Right.
But you've seen a lot, and I feel like the future with the sneaker industry, it's brighter than ever because you have so much. I mean, they're putting money into this young talent, and we're seeing a lot of guys who are very marketable because of the social media era. That changes everything in terms of how you can market yourself and
right.
And let's shout out one NBA athlete in particular, PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker, for my money and probably Matt's too, probably has the best sneaker.
No, it's not close.
It's not close.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's not close.
For sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's that guy. And he's actually, I saw Tyler Tynes at GQ did a story on PJ Tucker where he said that PJ Tucker is going to have a shoe with Dolce and Gabbana.
So wait, so that's dope for the fact that he wears basketball sneakers, right?
Right.
And then somebody outside of basketball is going to give him a deal to make a sneak. Like, that's dope. That's dope.
And for those,
be mad at him.
Yeah. And we talk about is how you market yourself, because for those unfamiliar with PJ Tucker, this guy doesn't average 20 points. He's no all-star. He's a defender who sits in the corner
and shoot threes.
And he is the king of the sneaker industry right now. You can't talk NBA sneaker culture without mentioning the name PJ Tucker, and that's just one of the biggest guys. And we got a question here. We'll grab this question. How do you feel about the fashion industry's top designers collaborating with today's sneaker culture? So we just mentioned
me and you was talking about that earlier too. Like, yeah. I honestly think in not that long, you're gonna probably see sneakers out there by Gucci and stuff like that.
That's incredible to think that we'll see guys wearing Gucci's on the NBA court.
Because it's like and I only see it now because of what happened with PJ Tucker. Because I see that them fashion designers are going to run with that. All they're going to see is dollar signs.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, PJ Tucker's not even a name that everybody knows.
Not Kevin Durant. He's not Steph Curry.
Right. And so for them to look out, yeah, they know what was going on.
I can't imagine seeing Imani Bates running down the court, dunking in some Louis Vuitton shoes. This is the way the sneaker industry has changed over the years. It's forever evolving, and I think that's the next step. The fashion industry is really gonna, because we see it with the pregame and postgame wear.
Yes,
that has been a big that has become a bigger part of the NBA culture. People want to see what Kelly Oubre is wearing. Russell Westbrook. People want to see what Draymond Green, John Wall. The list goes on. Philly guys, I believe Tobias Harris was one of the guys that on a story we did about a week ago ranked in the top 10 of best dressed NBA players.
Really?
Like that. You had Tobias Harris. Ben Simmons was up there. And I believe the Sixers were the 4th ranked team in terms of best dressed team. Now, this was a fan generated survey.
Right.
And it wasn't Philly based. We got the information from somewhere else. But yeah, the sneaker industry is forever evolving. And especially, here we talk about in Philly, I'm going to be on top of this. I'm going to cover just how it evolves here. We talk about an athlete like Ben Simmons who could get us. I mean, Ben Simmons could start shooting threes next year, and he's gonna have a shoe if he does that.
Especially if we trade him, because that's exactly what will happen.
And start shooting threes, because that's typically how it goes for Philly fans. Markelle Fultz has turned himself into.
he remember how to play basketball once he got to Orlando.
Went to Orlando and learned how to play basketball again. So you know the industry is forever changing, and especially here in Philly, you have marketable athletes. You have guys. It's even in baseball. Bryce Harper has his own cleat with Under Armour.
Under Armour, right?
Yep. He's an Under Armour guy. You know, Under Armour is a little bit more popular in baseball than they are in basketball. So, Joel Embiid, he's going to carry that torch for a while, but it'll be interesting to see if a guy like Tyrese Maxey or Seth Curry in his own right, you know, which of those guys could be that next guy to be, you know, have their own signature shoe. Because right now there aren't too many guys. I believe there's less than 20 guys in the NBA with signature shoes. But Matt, thank you for joining us here today on Inquirer Live. This is our first ever episode diving into the Philly sneaker culture. We're gonna have a lot more of these going forward, you know, over the months as we get closer to the NBA season, and we're really gonna dive into how the fashion side of things, how the culture, how the shoe, and of course sports all intersect together. But Matt, again, thank you for joining us.
Man, appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much. Most
definitely. This was fun. And for all the viewers that have tuned in, thank you for tuning in for us on Inquirer Live today. As I just previously stated, we'll have a lot more of these going forward. So for all the sneakerheads out there, stick with us. This is just the beginning. We're going to have a lot more. You have no clue the type of ideas we have in mind. So stay tuned for some of the projects we got planned going forward. And it's not just going to be Inquirer Live. We're going to be writing a lot more stories featured around these type things. I'll have a story coming out in the next day or two. So stay tuned for that as well. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Inquirer Live today. I'm Damichael Cole, the moderator. And here's our guest, Matt Norwood. We appreciate you for tuning in.
Thank you.